It's time for game number 2 of Printf versus Flux. Way Station is going to be our choice of map. We'll see what spawning positions we get here in just a moment. Spawning in the bottom left of the map, not to my surprise at all, is our pink Zerg from Frenetic Array, Flux. I should do the zoom-ins this time. And top right of the map we have his opponent, our green Zerg on Team Quasar. It is Printf. They're saying, sorry for the spawn, Omega, because they heard my little rant about this. I'm like, can I respond? Sigh, one day. It's K. The other one is a free one for Zerg, anyway. Oh. Oh. Alright. Printf's saying, not gonna argue then. It's too much damn space. True, true, true. I still want to cast a game on it, guys. It's so sad. I don't get that option. But anyway. So while we wait for anything interesting to happen, by that I mean pretty much just after that forge goes down, whether or not Printf's really able to make anything cool happen for us. Let us go take a look at who all is hanging out in the chat right now. We've got Namek, we got Printf, we got Vulcanlord, we got Zero-Q, we got ViperX. Good to see you guys, as well as Freaks. Oh, Zero Lambda is here as well. Nice to see you, buddy. And what do we have here? This is second probe moving out on the map. I do believe the other Overlord actually did see this. And here comes the cannon rush. He started the cannon on the high ground here, right between the two bases. Going to try and block off the ability to transfer between the two locations. This probe is running around. He's trying to keep the other ones distracted. These drones are actually trying to block the second probe from being able to put anything down. And this has been actually very nicely done so far by Flux. Gateway goes down, has to mineral walk through the drones. So basically all the health on the probe is going to be pretty difficult to get that in there. Nope, he's not able to get that off and loses both probes. Oh, this is a disaster for our green Protoss player, as he has no way of actually getting the cannon rush itself properly started. Everything is incredibly far behind. A third probe now moving out into the map to get down here, but everything has been incredibly badly delayed for our Protoss player. Meanwhile, 4 Zerglings are coming out. They're going to get to work on this pylon almost immediately, and we'll see if Printf has enough time to actually make this happen. He's throwing down, actually, the 4th Zergling is going to watch for the probe. He does find it, and he's going to start gnawing on him. Oh, manages to catch him in between the wall. And with that, I'd say this is looking incredibly bad for Printf now. I don't know what much he can do. It looks like he's going to go Cybernetics Core Cannon and basically just attempt to do the exact same thing we saw last time, where he goes into 4-gate. I have to say, Flux is incredibly good at holding this off. It looks like maybe has done it a few times, in fact. Double expanse. Grabbing the third pretty quickly in this situation is a brilliantly good move, too. He knows that his opponent can have no early army, and he will be not pressured in any real way. But plus, with this total wall off, no probes are going to be leaving to do any more work. Printf is effectively trapped in his own base now. He cannot. Visually, he has no information on what's going on the outside. Only thing he can do is try and go for this 4-gate as quickly as he possibly can. He's also grabbing a second gas this time, and just try and get an army up. Thing is it going to be pure 4-gate again, or is he going to go Stargate? Twilight Council this time. Actually, interesting move here. This could be for Blink Stalkers, it could be for DTs. There are 2 gateways here, and Flux actually manages to move in just enough to see that. Would Printf have been able to see it? Looking at his vision right now, yeah, he probably did see the Overlord hanging out at the edge of the map. So I think he knows kind of that his opponent should be suspecting something. The pylon going down. Very, very nice wall-off position as before. Back home, we can see that Flux is saturating his natural expansion. Not really moving to do that yet down here. A lot of workers coming out, though. He's already reached up to 28 workers, whereas his opponent's 22. And this is the, yeah, there it is, Blink Stalker. This is the kind of advantageous position that the Zerg now employs. This is incredibly powerful economy. Will he have enough to deal with the Blink Stalkers as they come out? We shall have to wait and see. Everything looking pretty impressive as always. Very low energy queens being utilized. Not exactly immediately, but pretty close. Only 3 energy off on that last queen. Roach Warren coming down here, and it looks like he's putting down Spore Crawlers in the main and in the natural, as well as the third. He wants to be prepared for the possibility of DTs. He's not going to dive in to scout that necessarily. That's one good thing for Printf, is some of that mineral resources is being directed towards something that will not help him hold off the Stalkers. I don't know if he's seen the Stalkers that were warped in up here. He is leaving one Zergling at the front, just to be ready. Now, unfortunately, Flux doesn't really know if there's actually a pylon out here or not. If he knew that there was no pylon out here, he knows he has a little bit more time. I think he's really suspecting DTs here. But I like the idea of putting detection at the rally point, though. In any case, those of you out there who are playing the Zerg race may want to take note. I think that's a pretty nice move right there. Roach speed coming up, and he's getting a small army out. This should be able to deal, I think. Wow, that's a lot of Stalkers. Okay, let's see if he's actually going to be able to deal with this. He has a lot of Roaches coming out in the back of this, and it's going to depend primarily on really how much damage Printf can do with this army, how well he can trade. He's going to need near-perfect blinks to really be able to handle all this. Speed is not quite done. You'll notice that Flux is moving back, trying not to engage for just to buy himself some extra time so he can get that speed. So far, Blink's doing a pretty nice job keeping all the Stalkers alive. A lot of Roaches behind that, though. Even though he does deal with all the Lings before speed comes into play, there's no close pylon here, so all the reinforcements are going to be very, very, very behind that of the Zergs. He has a massive home field advantage, so to speak, at the moment. Though, good control here from Printf. He's able to do a decent number on the army. More Lings and Roaches coming out on the back of this. We'll see if it's enough to actually keep him in this game. And he's starting to lose Stalkers pretty quickly here, down to 3, down to 2. And the thing is, since Flux is basically moving up into a 3-base economy now, just starting to get there, only has a few drones in the third. If nothing else, 3-base production. The Zerg player is now going to be totally okay with taking inefficient trades. He can lose his entire army for the Protoss' entire army because he knows he can remake his faster, and eventually will be able to have more money when Printf runs out in the main up here. So we may see a few more engagements like this, but it's starting to look pretty comfortable here for our big Zerg. Gathering up, grabbing some detection along with the army just in case, although we can see on the production tab it's pretty much just Zealot Stalker at the moment. Blinking, trying to do his best to blink his Stalkers out of harm's way. He had a couple Zerglings actually running about in the back to make sure that actually had the effect of the Stalkers not really engaging against the army anymore. 3 Zealots coming to help against the Roaches, but there's too many now. They are pretty much annihilated immediately. And now we have pretty much just a big push here from our Zerg player that I don't think Printf really has anywhere near enough to actually deal with. He's been forced back up into his base. The best he could do really is maybe engage right alongside this pylon, but this would allow for an incredibly good arc for his opponent. And at this point, he's blinking back into the base, and is his opponent trying to engage in there? Does not look like it. He's going to warp in some more Stalkers. There's a little bit of time here, but he just doesn't really have anything that he can do. Printf can try to go into a different tech, but he wouldn't be able to build more army units. Would cause him to die immediately. There's so many Roaches out here. Actually blinking forward to try and take one off. Does do that, but at the cost of at least 3 Stalkers. And now I think we've hit the point where Flux is starting to feel like he can just engage. He's going to go immediately after the cannon, take the cannon down. Looks like he's going to try and work down the cybernetics core on top of that. He's letting Printf warp in more Stalkers, but he's not going to be able to do so once that's done. And now the wall is through, the Roaches are in, and the Lings have come in on top of that. He's running out of room. Printf has been pushed back all the way into his base, and now he has nowhere to go. GG is called. Can't believe I lost my other probe, says Printf. His final comment for this evening.